My name is Bram Siebe. I'm working for Alliander, which is a company in the Netherlands. The logo is here on the left bottom. And we have been, since the beginning of Amsterdam Smart City, we have been one of the founders, together with the City of Amsterdam and the Amsterdam Innovation Motor, called the Amsterdam Economic Board. What I would like to do is just briefly get you through what we do in Amsterdam, how we do it on a more specific level, giving some examples as well. But before we start, I would like to show you a brief video of just to get an impression of the city. Thank you. Was it that good? So just briefly, all the different speakers already went through all the different challenges that we face as a smart city and the rapid urbanization in the cities. Amsterdam is a city of about 800,000 people. In the metropolitan region, there's about 2.1 million people living there. Still, we do face most of the challenges that also other cities face, especially with the rapid urbanization and the heavy use of the public space in the cities. We founded Amsterdam Smart City. It's a full public-private partnership. So all the 7 organizations that stands here, I want to underline the fact that the City of Amsterdam, so the government officials from the local government from the City of Amsterdam, are just 1/7 of the program. So we are fully collaborating together with Alliander, Arcades, PostNL, which is our Dutch mills, our Royal Mail Services, and KPN, which is the largest telecommunication provider in the Netherlands as well. Also responsible for the connectivities in the city. What we see is that, or what we actually want to achieve as a smart city, to have Amsterdam as an international frontrunner in the development of a smart city, and to provide a very strong innovation platform so that through collaboration between all different stakeholders, we can actually continue implementing and succeeding and realizing innovations. How we do it? By matching, accelerating, and market making. Together with those 7 organizations, we represent about 140,000 employees with extensive knowledge in all different fields in the smart city challenges that we have. So Amsterdam, just briefly. We have smart grids, we have startup accelerators, we have incubators, we have knowledge institutions from a very high level. We have an extensive Amsterdam open data program with more than 424 data sets being open and 1,200 more to come. And the second one, and we have the second fastest consumer network in Europe, because Switzerland just beat us last year, unfortunately. So connectivity is a key factor. I think all the different speakers from today have explained it. I think that's why the Computex is of such importance as well. So in Amsterdam, we have the second largest internet hub in the world. Just the peak was about 3.7 terabytes per second that goes through Amsterdam and all the data centers. 95% of the households are connected. And we have already done several projects and several innovations within the city. Smart schools, remote healthcare, smart working centers. We've just implemented the first smart lighting area, where not only lighting can be dimmed, so it's energy efficient when no one is around, including sensoring. So the sensor detects when you're around and it dims the light, so it saves a tremendous amount of energy. But it's also connectivity which is in there, public Wi-Fi, together with iBeacons as well. And this is also one of the new projects in Amsterdam. We're trying to set up, and we're going to set up, an iBeacon mall, also for crowd control purposes, but also for the tourists who actually come to visit. There are many tours. We have about 13 to 18 million tourists a year. And it's just an easy way to interact with your smartphone on where to go, where the longer queues are, where the shorter queues are, which is more important, and all different facets. Always thinking of what does the user, the visitor, or the user in the city need or want. Because we think all the different challenges that the city is facing at this moment, it's a combination of stakeholders who actually are able to solve it. But always keep in mind it's a user-centered perspective. On data, I'm doing good in time, the data aspect, so I'll talk about connectivity data, but also energy, mobility, and other, and healthcare and waste. If we look at the data side, it's a tremendous opportunity to have a lot of the data opened up, not just by government, but also from the Alliander side as well. So we've opened up data sets about the usage of households on a postal code area level, which is actually being visualized in through Amsterdam Open Data to the platform. But it can also be downloaded as APIs, so it can be used for all different types of applications that people want to develop. So we try to use the creativeness of developers and the users within the city to continue. And that's why we always try to urge to get more data open. And that's what we think as a smart city, as the program of Amsterdam Smart City should be emphasizing on as well. So data centers, we have a lot of data centers. I already explained a little bit about it, but also we're trying to see how we can actually greener the data centers, actually trying to use the residual heat of data centers for household warmth. Last part, a smart citizen kit. It's the citizens who actually are more and more want to become decentralized, want to become more self-sustainable. It's their needs who actually are the key and the difficult task I think that many of the companies and the stakeholders, the city government and Alliander as well, is very difficult to work with. But you have to be able to understand and have to follow it. Smart Citizen Kit is actually an open source platform. The Smart Citizen Kit was distributed to all different kinds of people. It's been set up in Barcelona. We copied it in Amsterdam, where we actually measures all different kinds of air pollution, noise pollution, air humidity, all different kinds of variables, which was all presented in an open platform. Everyone could use it, everyone could do it themselves, and use the data that came out of it as well. So energy in Amsterdam. Climate goals are on a high level, so we want to achieve them. We're not there yet. In the Netherlands, we have 5% of renewable energy only. But there's a fast-growing demand in energy, which is also a main struggle for our business as a utility company, active in electricity and gas, with about 3 million household connections. So we have to adapt. We have to continue to see where will the utility sector be in 10 years from now. It's highly unpredictable, so let's try to see whether it can actually collaboratively innovate to see what the future will hold. One of the projects that we've done is the project here in the middle, which is actually called Vehicle to Grid, where we actually are now conducting a pilot project with 10 cars, 10 electric vehicles, who can not only be charged, but who can also uncharge if the price is right. So it's connected to the spot exchange for energy prices. And that's the whole pilot about, to see whether indeed we can tackle the difficulties that we have with the electric car infrastructure in the city itself. And also prevent high investments in the infrastructure, because that's also one of the main goals, but still keeping the energy affordable and reliable. It's also been done by the companies themselves, by stakeholders within the city, without even having an active role for the government. So this is an example of the large football stadium of the famous Ajax soccer team, which I support, of course, together with the largest hospital in the Netherlands, which is situated, I think, approximately 400, 500 meters away. And they actually now joined their energy consumption because of the peak demands that they have. Football matches are being played in the evening or in the weekends, and the high level of energy for the hospitals is being used throughout the day. So why not balance them? Let them use their energy that they actually provide for themselves with 7,000 square meters of solar panels, and the other one with 35,000 square meters of solar panels. Which is the second one here as well. So we also try to see whether we can again use the warmth, the residual heat, where there's a lot of residual heat coming out of the data centers. We actually think that we can have at least half of the city, if not even more, we could support, but if you do it in a very efficient way from the data centers perspective. But connect it to it's still small. It's about 100 households. Try to see whether they can actually have their own heat infrastructure network. So not controlled by the government, not controlled by the utility company, their own heat infrastructure network where they're partners from. So they're associates, they're members, they're active shareholders in there. Waste in the city, tremendous opportunities there. It's a tremendous challenge as well, but there is a huge opportunity as waste becomes resources. Well, it's been said more and over. There's the first stage, it's waste management, urban mining as well. So try to reduce or try to use the waste that we actually generate together with all of us. In the second stage, it goes even further because you actually want to prevent waste to happen. So towards the circular economy, we have an area in the north of Amsterdam where we're now going to experiment. How can we actually have a full neighborhood developed completely based on a circular way? It's a big challenge. No one knows the answer yet. That's why we have to collaborate together with the people who live there, together with the government, together with all the different companies that are taking an active stake, an active part in this. I'm always emphasizing collaboration. I will do it throughout my presentation because I think that's key in the innovation that we need for smart city challenges. Mobility in a city. I already showed a little bit in the previous slide about dynamic traffic control. It's been implemented, especially for emergency vehicles, so that they know precisely the right route that they need to take if there's traffic jams in the city or if there's anything happening within the city. Car sharing, it was already mentioned by Ford as well. I think it's an important step. We have several car sharing initiatives in the Netherlands, and one of them is shown here as well. It's Car2Go. I think it's a great example as well, but especially the business model is a great example. What I've learned from other car sharing initiatives, this was actually the first project that was a completely electric fleet in the Netherlands, based on for Car2Go, because they were already present in other cities. But the car sharing initiative is I think, the first start of also the sharing economy, of which Amsterdam now has also set up the Amsterdam Sharing City program, where you have to see what other activities we can do using the sharing and the sharing economy philosophy and the way of thinking. So we're also doing it within the health industry. They're also trying to set it up within the insurance industry. They're also doing it. I used it. There's a great app that we use in the Netherlands where actually I needed a ladder, which was way bigger than the ones I have back home. I just put into the app, I just put a message, I need a ladder of at least 4 meters of size. It was sent to 250 people in my neighborhood. I received 10 reactions of people that I could borrow the ladder from without cost. So I only need to pick it up. think of everyone in the city, living in the city, willing to help each other in that perspective, and what it does with the business models of all the existing companies that have actually are selling the letters and trying to further sell them. E-health, tremendous opportunities here. In Amsterdam, I felt here the level of 65 plus is also very high, which I read somewhere. But in the Netherlands, it's becoming more or less 18% of the people are actually becoming 65 plus, and it's increasing rapidly. So e-health solutions are very important to the city, but especially from a data perspective, insurance companies have a tremendous amount of data on health, but also the hospitals have a tremendous amount of data. They're not sharing them. So what we've set up is the Amsterdam Institute for Health and Technology, focusing on urban health, but also has a strong emphasis on data collection and data and big data analyzation. We're also very active in Europe. So what we see that there's more and more smart city developments within Europe on a stronger collaboration between several cities. And I think especially for bigger companies and the larger countries as well, elsewhere in the world, I think these are great opportunities to see what we do and try to achieve on developing new business models, etc. What we did here was developing the energy atlas, which I already briefly explained, so that the whole energy usage, but also potential for geothermal energy, the potential for wind, the potential for sun, was all being mapped out for the city, so you can actually look up your own house and see what the potential is for you and to see, or for other renewable energy sources that you might want to use. The second thing which we also developed is an analyzation tool for refurbishment within the city. Try to see what you can do with various energy sources, using them, integrating them, and see what it does for your CO2 expenses, for your investment level, and for other purposes. We don't do it alone. This is again, the emphasis. Everyone plays an important role, an important stake. So we have over 100, as it says here, I think it's over 130, 150 partners, which have been part in all of the different, or some of them have been part in all of the different projects that we did. And yes, indeed, we have, as was introduced, we have done 75 projects within the city. And we're actually currently doing 50 more with a team of about 12 people. I all call them my colleagues, although they work for other companies and have other challenges that they need to solve. Still, we're together, we're addressing the challenges in the city. We've created several living labs. So there was an emphasis, especially between the 3rd and the 5th year of the Amsterdam Smart City program. There was an emphasis on several areas within the city to know all the different stakeholders who are there. Because you need to involve them, you need to co-create and develop new products. And so Eiburg, for example, on the right-hand side, we did a lot of e-health and remote education, because Eiburg was one of the fastest places in the internet, having 500 megabits of internet connection for every household which was there. I believe this is the key. I still have 11 minutes. The key is find a way to actually translate, to understand the different challenges and try to match them if there's different demands and different stakes at hand. This is what we try to do at all different projects that we have done. You need to use the knowledge institutions. They have a very important role as you're talking about innovation, and you need research for it. We also have a very important role to act now. So try to see whether you have these large, like autonomous driving, like other types of innovations which are far ahead of us. Try to small them down, start collaborating together, because people need to adjust as well, and people need to change in that perspective a little bit as well, and then continue on doing your projects and scaling it up. The lessons learned from Amsterdam Smart City is it helps to have the Amsterdam Smart City program as an independent entity, because we have a common goal. if you wish to smarten the city, I believe everyone within the city wants it. And that makes it easier to actively engage and actively collaborate on several projects that we do. Setting proprietary issues on data, trying to get them open is a very, very important role. And also this week we had the Smart City event in Amsterdam, which well, happily actually, but unfortunately as well couldn't attend. We had a large hackathon as well, trying to see what type of all different types of individuals came out using the data of the city, the data of Alliander, the data of various companies, all being mixed, integrated, try to see what comes out of it. It's a huge potential for creativity. Capitalize the political cycling as well. You need governance, you need the political sponsorship as well, but it's not the only driver. It's a very important driver, it's definitely not the only one. Especially with the, at least what's the case in the Netherlands, the high pressure on budgets for the government. So they need to adapt too. And they're actively encouraging, in the Smart City program at least, actively encouraging collaboration from a government perspective as well. Utilize what has already been created. So don't all set it up yourselves, but try to see whether you can actually evolve, try to see whether you can pick up where someone else already ended, and try to see if you can continue, instead of doing it all again and again. Some of the conclusions, and then I'll share another short video with you as well. Transparency. Everything that Amsterdam Smart City does tries to be open, tries to be shared, and can be accessed by anyone who asks. So that's a very important part. The products and services are user-centric. The demands and the will of the user in the city is always because that's the point where it actually starts solving the challenges. The livability increases with all different kinds of apps. So within Europe, we're now looking more and more into not just opening data, not just setting out APIs, but also providing the platform that people actually know what has been done with the APIs. So also provide the different applications that have been made, or the different apps that have been made within the city. Lastly, secondly, what you see, especially in the city, you see it with Airbnb, you see it with Uber, you see it with all different kinds of companies that are now being very disruptive for a lot of different business models. The paradigm shift that we think is more and more increasing, that ownership is falling down and it goes to availability or sharing. I think it's an important trend that we see on all different kinds of levels, between industry players, between the citizen and the government, between citizens themselves, all different stakeholder relationship. You see that availability becomes a more and more increasingly phenomenon. And it's disruptive for a lot of business models as well. Lastly, what we'd like to do, or we're actually trying to emphasize, so my colleague is now in Washington, also trying to realize an international collaboration. There are plenty of forums that we actually share different learnings or share different smart city concepts in the world. We try to do it as well from the smart city program, so from a city level, not necessarily government level, but from a city level, in what can you actually learn, what can you actually do, and try to use all the different competences that are there in all different cities. We've already taken some steps in this perspective. And I would like to show you a brief video of some of the cities who are actually collaborating in this perspective.
Connecting the dots, that's what we do. Connecting the dots to further the collaboration between all of us. All across the world, people, cities, and countries are working on smart city projects. We want all of these teams to work together. Why bother and try to invent things twice? For example, in Taiwan, great work is being done on an energy island, a new solution to facilitate the island with its own energy. A great example of how we put effort in connecting the dots.
In Taiwan, we developed the official wind power planning. So we need some new technology to put into this planning. So we will found that we should have close cooperation with each other.
The University of Taiwan is also in favor of collaborating with our teams.
I believe Taiwan and Dutch have a lot of interactions before. It's all positive. And we believe in Taiwan's national program, we have a lot to learn from the Dutch delegations. And we're looking forward to have many more discussions and very good collaborations in the future, as we have done always in the past.
We are all about connecting the dots. Not only do we want to connect Bandung to the Netherlands, we want to take this collaboration to the next level. We think globally. Right now, we're setting up collaborations not only in Bandung, but amongst others in Tokyo, Taiwan, Austin, San Francisco, Denver, Washington, New York, and Chicago.
Chicago, the city behind us, was built on collaboration. It burnt down in 1871 and was rebuilt only by bringing architects and innovators from all over the world. Working with not only the Dutch, but also Austin and New York creates an opportunity for us to find the innovation, the best innovation from all over the world, and to put it in place where it makes the most sense.
So, smart city and Internet of Things by nature is all about collaboration. It has to be.
In Austin, Texas, we're working together with several organizations to start up clean energy projects.
We have a really great relationship with the Netherlands. We've enjoyed working with their utilities, academia, startup companies, a wide range of people that make up their clean tech sector and connecting them to our clean tech cluster.
The University of Texas is also joining forces with our teams.
In addition to research, we think commercialization is very important. And we have a clean energy incubator at the University of Texas that helps launch companies that do clean energy. We'd like to do the same thing for our Dutch partners.
We can help them by helping them understand the United States marketplace. We are very experienced at taking technologies and making and wrapping a business around that technology, and then contacts in the marketplace, partners, vendors, customers, lawyers, accountants, these things that you need to build a business.
We're thrilled to be working with the best minds from the Netherlands, and the most innovative companies in the Netherlands and Flanders to tackle some of the world's most important challenges, both economic and environmental.
We're setting up a sustainable collaboration with the city of Bandung.
Netherlands is the leader in the smart city for the whole Europe, and Bandung has the same vision. Maybe Bandung can be the leader for smart city in Indonesia or the region.
It fits very well in our effort to promote, to strengthen the bilateral relation between Indonesia and the Netherlands.
One of the most important rules when you connect the dots is to share knowledge and solutions. A great example to show the world is the Bandung Command Center. This center, designed by Mayor Ridwan Kamil, is a good example of information analysis. At this center, municipal data can be visualized in real time.
The reason why we have this is we can make the decision faster, we can service the public better, and by this technology we can show that the smart city is the necessity to manage the city.
So there you have it. Connecting the dots is something we take very serious.
Thank you very much.